Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Gooner. Today, I am joined by Sam. Hello,
Hello,
Sam.
hello, buddy. Good.
As you can see, we are minus a co-host today. Raf has no power at home due to a snowstorm in South Texas, which is quite unusual. So it's just me and your boy Sam here. So great weekend, great result of the weekend, 4-2 against Leeds United. What did you make of that?
Yeah, very happy with the result. To be honest, for me, I think first half we dominated the game quite well. We really nullified what they was trying to do. We was on the front foot. We had the majority of the ball, and I think that it was the first half. I'd say it was a very complete performance by us. Obviously, the I don't want to go into the referees too much, but they need to sort
Suffer
themselves out
quickly.
because obviously for me the penalty on the first penalty on Saka, it for me it was stonewall because you look at the way that Cooper's come across. He's tried to body him, so he's already like tried to push him over, and then the legs clip, regardless of whether Saka's going down or not, because the first initial phase is Cooper trying to push him over, and then the second phase is the entanglement. So I'm at a bit of a loss with the referee on that, but ultimately going back to the first goal, good pass from Xhaka into Aubameyang. Aubameyang doing what he does best from that left hand side, and what I like about Aubameyang playing in the number 9 is that he will interchange, so he can position himself centrally, as you see with the header. But with the first goal, he made the run from in to out, so that confuses the back four because it then essentially wants the centre back to be pulled out into the left back space instead of the full back covering him. And with that, once you're isolated one on one, obviously Aubameyang hasn't been slotting these away recently, but now it's starting to click for him again. And hopefully this is the first of many for him to really kickstart his season. Obviously, after all the troubles with his mum and whatnot, but I was very impressed with the first half. Second half, I think, like all games, really, we tend to let teams in for a bit. Obviously, did we get goals second half? Yeah.
Yeah, we got a fourth.
Yeah, got the fourth from the second half. So you think at that stage it's game over. But ultimately we kind of switched off. I wouldn't say switched off for the corner. I think that the way that we mark up is a bit of a mixed match. And for me, I wasn't really happy with Saka marking the goal scorer, because you think he's a defender, tall player, powerful in the air against Saka. The guy had a free run at Luis. Luis was a bit unlucky that he didn't get his head on it, but ultimately the power of the run and the jump from the fella powered it in. And the second one, well, what made me laugh is I see a quote from Bellerin afterwards saying that we need to game manage better. But what Bellerin really needs to concentrate on is not switching off.
Yeah. I don't disagree with anything you said there. I think what I really enjoyed about the game was a couple of things, actually. I really enjoyed the way Luis and Gabriel stepped out of defence with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They really impressed me with the ball playing ability of both of them. We know they have it in them, but we haven't really seen it from them for a while. But they really did help Xhaka and Ceballos beat the press by allow them coming forward with the ball really allowed Xhaka and Ceballos to take higher positions up the pitch, which then got the ball to the other players quicker. That's
Let
what
me
I really.
Sorry, just let me pose you this. So, as we've seen with Gabriel and Rob Holding, they seem to perform better with an experienced partner either side. Moving forward, what do you do? Because Rob Holding was in good form before this. Gabriel seems to be picking up form when he's come in. If you're Arteta, what do you do?
It's a tough one because we saw during that break, spell where we was on the winning run, it was Holding and Mari who were very, very good together. It kind of reminded me of the Koscielny Mertesacker type partnership. But then Luiz and Gabriel are just as good as a partnership. But then you look at Luiz and Mari, they're a bit shaky. And then Holding and Gabriel are a bit shaky together. It's definitely a difficult one to pinpoint the two that you would start. But obviously that's not my my issue there. But it gives Arteta a good headache to have because you've got 4 solid centre backs. Obviously, Luiz has the mistakes in him, and Holding does get exposed a little bit. But I think you have to keep Gabriel in solely because he's so quick in recovery. He's so fast at getting back and getting in behind the striker to get the ball back. Yeah, Gabriel would be I think Gabriel and Luiz would be my go-to because Luiz is so good at bringing the ball forward and smashing a crossfield pass 40 yards to the winger and whatnot. But yeah, one of the other things I really, really liked seeing was when Xhaka or Gabriel had the ball, or even Ceballos, Odegaard dropped deep to receive the ball. He dragged the defensive midfielder with him. Then Smith Rowe made a dynamic run inside and dragged the fullback with him, which then Aubameyang went out wide and exploited a 1v1 against the centre-back every single time. That's where the first goal came from. The third, Aubameyang's hat-trick, similar sort of move started. Obviously, we lost the ball, but then Smith Rowe won it back. With that combination play of the intelligence and the IQ, the football IQ of Odegaard, Ceballos, Saka, and Smith Rowe was just unbelievable in that first half. The pass from Ceballos of Bellerin's goal as well was beautiful.
Filth.
It was disgusting, and yeah, that I don't think you can move away from that front 4 at the moment. Just looking by that game, we absolutely battered Leeds, and they're known for their high intense press, don't give teams time, space. But Xhaka and Ceballos really did make it look a lot easier than it was. Xhaka again was phenomenal.
And one thing I want to touch on Saka. One thing that I think with him is when he's allowed to venture into the final third, he really slows the game down in terms of looking for that final pass, because it looks like he's got all the time in the world and it makes it look easy. And the weight of the pass as well is something that's beneficial for the forwards, because all they have to do is just cushion it nicely and then it's a shot. And he's been displaying this quite often now.
Yeah, I was just about to say he did it for Pepe's goal in Southampton. It's a similar sort of pass as well. It's that direct, fizzed into the forward where they only can take one touch, and that's out of their feet, ready for a shot. And he plays it beautifully every single time.
Yeah, and that's something that essentially, if you think about it, really makes up the forward's decision as to, do I take one touch? Do I take 2 touches or 3 touches to try and beat someone? The ball's fits into him. It's like, no, I haven't got time for another touch. It's one touch, bang.
And it's happened 2 or 3 times where Xhaka has done that pass and we've either scored or we've come close to scoring from it.
And it really, really unsettles the back opposition back four, and also the keeper don't know whether to set himself for another touch or a shot. So you're really dicing with the opposition in terms of what am I going to do? You're asking them questions, which we haven't done of late recently.
Absolutely. So segueing into the next topic, there was a report in the last couple of days saying that Arsenal are looking to offer David Luiz an extension. I also read today that there must be an acceptance on David Luiz's side that's his game time is halved or cut down quite a bit. But there was also a little bit in that report that said that David Luiz is looking for a player coaching role. What do you think? Did you think that's a good idea?
Big fan of that. As you know, with our interview with James Bench, I posed the question with David Luiz coming into his final year of his contract and whether Arsenal were considering being as a player coach. Because if I'm Arsenal, I'd go down that route. Yes, it does take away a non-homegrown spot in the registration.
Actually, I don't think it does, because if he's down as a coach, I don't think he takes a registration spot.
But he's still playing.
But remember, Wayne Rooney at Derby didn't get registered as a player; he got registered as a coach,
But
and he was paid. His wages were paid as a coach as well, not as a player. That's how they go around the wage structure of him as well.
Okay, I'm not too sure on that, but I think it'd be a bit different with Rooney because obviously where he's homegrown anyway. So I'm not sure how that works in relation to Luiz, but just before I get into the question, doesn't Luiz classify as a can classify as a British citizen now? He's been in England for more than 5 years, no?
I'm not 100% sure on that, actually. I don't know how citizenship works from here. I don't have a clue.
Fair enough. Might be something to look into, but yeah. But yeah,
an interesting one.
Yeah, definitely. But looking at the question, I'd be a big fan of him staying around in a player coaching capacity, because whenever you listen or see or read a interview from an Arsenal youngster, they always mention David Luiz, always mentioning his experience, always mentioning him taking them under a wing, always discussing, always willing to offer knowledge. And I know many people go, "Oh, we don't want David Luiz offering knowledge to our youngsters because he's sort of full of errors." Yes, he does make the odd error. It's his playing style. We've known that from day dot. It happened at Chelsea. It's happened here. But the guy's won more or less everything in world football. And I feel that his experience is vital. And if you're losing that in the summer, I personally don't think that you can replace that by playing experience, unless you go out and get someone like Sergio Ramos on a free. But again, at what
he comes
cost?
on astronomical wages.
Yeah, exactly. At what cost? So I think for me, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer for the club to keep David Luiz around. I think it would be beneficial for the club to put him on the coaching staff because, again, it allows the thing for me with this as well. It allows David Luiz to learn his trade with Arteta. The pair of them clearly get on very well. The pair both have similar footballing viewpoints. And with David Luiz, he may not necessarily be a defensive coach. He could be a general all-round play coach, because at this point, we don't know what type of coach that David Luiz could be.
And his
But
personality as well. You need that in the dressing room. You need that positivity.
exactly, and that's what you got to factor in. Having that around, and having that around, that's a big plus in any coach's book. And you never know, he could be the third assistant coach or fourth assistant coach that sits in the stands that speaks to Arteta and the coaching staff, like Lundberg was. You never know, but yeah, for me, I think that I'd keep him around.
Yeah, and I'm of the same opinion as you, Sam. And I think his positivity, his mentality, he's a winner. He's won everything. I think having him in the dressing room, not so much. I know people say, "Oh, he gets red cards, he makes mistakes," but you can't teach that experience. Like you can't like, oh, you know what I mean. It's just that experience of being in the Premier League, playing at the top level, showing them the right path. Like you see some youngsters take the wrong path and ruin their career. Whereas with Louise, I feel like he would nurture our youngsters quite well.
He'd install that winning mentality as well. You can't coach that.
Exactly. And one thing that I've been thinking about all day is actually I would send Saliba on another year loan just to get that solid year of playing again. Because you'd have five centre backs here. You'd have Louise, who's on a lower time playing time. You have Mari, Gabriel, Holding. I know that would be four, wouldn't it? And then if we signed one, yeah, if we signed a right side centre back, which we've been told by someone that it's highly likely, then Saliba's playing time is going to be cut short, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, Saliba's a difficult one at the moment because
Your head's gone missing.
Oh, sorry. Let me come back. Yeah, it's a difficult one at the moment because where he's getting the playing time, obviously, he's going to be getting into a rhythm which for us long term is beneficial. It purely depends on whether Arteta said to him, like, go out on these 6 months and we'll reassess in the summer and see whether you're ready to really command a place in this side, which most people would probably expect to happen. Because if you're looking at it, if right-sided centre-backs, realistically, you'd only have Holding and Saliba, considering Chambers is more than likely to go in the summer, or command an alternative position, probably defensive midfield. But I suspect he'd probably go in the summer. But I think if we were to sign a right-sided centre-back, that right-sided centre-back has to be signed as a starter, not as a squad rotational player. And then that really puts into question whether Saliba would be willing to have Europa League. I say Europa League might not have that, but Carabao Cups, FA Cup games, and a spot on the bench potentially. I would possibly look at him going on another 6-month loan, so bringing him into next January.
Yeah.
To really then see, okay, let's see where you're at there. You've had a year at this club. Or actually, what I'd probably do is bring him back in the summer. I would then say, look, you're going on a Premier League loan to see how you can cope with the league. Say potentially 6 months with the club. Say it's initially 6 months, more than likely going to be 12 unless we're in a deep injury crisis. But
suspensions knowing us.
Yeah, the way that the referees are right now. But yeah, I'd say Saliba in the Premier League next season on a loan, probably go 12 months and then see where we're at with David Luiz. He'll probably retire at that point, and see what the situation is with Rob Holding, because a lot changes in 12 months.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And speaking of players whose time is coming up at Arsenal, is a player on loan, Dani Ceballos. There was rumours today that Arsenal and Madrid have open talks, or unsure of reliability, but they said that Arsenal have agreed a deal with Real Madrid for Ceballos at £22 million. Do you keep him? Do you send him back? Or do you loan him again? What's your opinion on Ceballos?
Difficult one. I've been very critical of Dani Ceballos, especially over the winter months. Reflecting back on that, it didn't look like he was fully fit, to be honest. It looked like he was carrying something, because whenever he was running back, he looked like he was tugging a fucking submarine behind him. He never had that spring in his step. Something was missing from his gameplay, or something was restricted. But I think with Dani Ceballos, if we was to keep him, again, it's a non-homegrown spot taken. But if we can get him for about 22 million euros, then I'd be more than happy to keep him around, because he is a useful addition as a squad player. And if you're really planning now for the future squad, I'd probably be looking to get rid of El Neni. And then if that's the case, then Ceballos takes that spot. I think that it'd be interesting to see what happens with Ceballos, because Arteta clearly likes him, and Real Madrid are in dire need for the money. But it's a bit difficult one with him, because he's not exactly a creative midfielder. He's not exactly a defensive midfielder. He's a midfielder that gets busy, but without the stats to go with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he's wholly inconsistent with his performances. One game he'll be prime Zidane, and then next minute he'll be the fidget spinner Eric Jemba Jemba. Do you know what I mean? You just never know with Ceballos what you're gonna get. Like, we saw him. When did he play last? I can't remember, but he was awful. And then against Leeds, he was brilliant. West Brom away, when we won 4-0, he was brilliant. So when Arsenal play well, Ceballos plays well, kind of thing. And I don't think we can have that type of player. We need someone who's going to make Arsenal play well, not everyone's going to make him play well, kind of thing. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the summer. And speaking of loanees, Raf made a good suggestion to us the other day about talking about our loanees that are out on loan at the moment. I'm just going to go through the main ones, because we have quite a few youngsters out on loan at the moment. So we have William Saliba at Nice. You have Matteo Guendouzi, Sam's favourite player, at Hertha Berlin. And who else is there? Joe Willock at Newcastle. Ainsley Maitland-Niles at West Brom. Before we get into it, I just want to say, a lot of people on Twitter have been saying that Matteo Guendouzi has been playing very well. I actually spoke to a Hertha Berlin fan today, and he said he's had the most average start to a season that he's ever seen a Hertha midfield have. So I don't know what to believe.
Imagine my surprise.
Yeah, and apparently he broke the record of the weekend for backwards passes in the Bundesliga.
Oh, imagine my surprise.
But it looks like Newcastle fans have fallen in love with Joe Willock. Is that someone you would bring back, or would you sell, given the price, obviously?
Unfortunately, due to circumstances and looking at where we are potentially going to be in a rebuild, I would be looking to sell, because Joe Willock has a lot of aspects that are going for him. Unfortunately, I don't think they fit Arteta's system the way that Arteta wants it to to be, because Arteta sees him more in a number 10, but Willock likes to be in the double pivot,
Yeah,
making them runs forward. And with Arteta's system, I think that Arteta wants the two to remain the two and not burst forward to allow more room for the forward playing players. And if they if somebody's going to burst from the pivot, it leaves us exposed. This is a gripe that we've always had with Ramsey when he played in a two pivot, Guendouzi when he played in a two pivot, Coquelin at some points when he played in a two pivot. It was never somebody that was like, yes, I'm a deep lying playmaker or I'm a defensive midfielder. Okay, I'm that for say 53 minutes. And then from 53 minutes to the end of the game, oh fuck it, I'm a centre forward. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, with Joe, I think that he's got the makings of a very, very good player, but I think that we're probably going to look to sell him, and if that is the case, I would probably say we need to be selling him for about 35 million and inserting a buyback of say 65, 70 million. Double your money.
yeah. The thing with buybacks, though, clubs don't really tend to go for them because if he starts playing well, you're just like, well, I'll take him back. So
Yeah.
it's tough to get those into contracts.
Mm. If
I
if
think,
if you can, then it's good. But as you say, it's difficult. But I suppose a club like Newcastle, if you used to say to them, okay, well, within 2-3 years you can double your money.
yeah, it's true. See, I think out of the four players I mentioned, I think Saliba would be the only one coming back.
Yeah.
I think Maitland-Niles is probably going to be sold because he wants to play midfield, and quite frankly, to be completely brutally honest, he's not good enough to play midfield. We saw it the weekend against Man United. So many times he was in good positions to make the right pass and he didn't. And obviously that's something you can learn going forward. But when you're playing for Arsenal, where you're playing for someone that's looking to break into the top four or looking to win a title, you need players that are going to make that right pass 9 times out of 10. And I don't believe he would at the moment anyway.
He's too lackadaisical on the ball, and that I'm sorry, but that playing style is never gonna be drummed out of him.
Yeah. And with Guendouzi as well, I don't think he's coming back because he was sent on loan to prove that he can play for Arsenal and he has the right attitude. But he's proving Arteta right every week. He's arguing with his teammates all the time, causing drama in the dressing room, in the tunnel, coming out for the second half. He hasn't really played very, very well. We saw him at the start under Emery, where I don't know if it's because we looked bad, but he looked brilliant. Where he was grabbing the ball and he was driving and he was winning 50-50s and whatnot. But he's just not done that this season for Hertha. I've watched him a few times. And I think Arteta will cash in on him. He didn't apologise for going against Arteta last season. He did that against Morpay and then this as well. I think that's it for him.
Didn't congratulate the team in winning the FA Cup either.
No, the first thing he posted after that was, "Oh, I'm in Greece on holiday." Yeah, so I don't think he's going to come back. And if I'm being honest, I think we'll get 65 million for all three of them. That's the least I would expect.
Are you factoring in Torreira in this as well?
Oh yeah, I forgot about Lucas. I don't think he's coming back either. He can't get into the Atletico Madrid side at the moment. That's mainly because Atletico Madrid are running away with the league and why change a winning team.
And whenever Lucas has come into the team, he's, to be perfectly honest, he's not really impressed.
It really does go to show how average our squad was.
Yeah, it really does.
Because none of these players are set in there, other than Joe Willock, who I wouldn't put in the bracket of letting the team down because he's only come into the first team really this season, like started enough games to really be like analysed properly. Whereas Maitland-Niles, Guendouzi, Torreira, you could say they're probably the reason why we are where we are, because they don't perform consistently at their level.
Mm.
But
And
that actually, oh, go on, sorry.
sorry, I was just going to say, like, if you're saying about performing consistently on a level, I think around Guendouzi, I was excited when he came here, but then I quickly saw how limited he was in his gameplay, because yes, people will pinpoint to the stat that he was Arsenal's most progressive player when he was starting under Emery. Yeah, he may have been.
That wasn't hard.
No, exactly. He may have been the most progressive player, but if you think about it, a progressive pass could be 2 yards forward. It's not 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yards. It could be 2 yards, laying it off to someone 2 yards ahead of you, and he done a lot of that. And obviously, that's going to skew stats and things like that. And with Guendouzi, you don't know what type of player that he actually is, because he doesn't make that decisive pass. He's not a midfield enforcer where he's winning the ball back all the time. Yes, he does carry the ball, but again, let down by the final pass. I asked the question a lot about Guendouzi because I did want him to succeed, but before all of the misdemeanors that he had, obviously the Arsenal Foundation dinner, the arguments with Arteta's coaching, the constant mockery of Unai Emery on the training ground, playing up to the Özil click. It
The
didn't.
stuff that happened in Dubai, he embarrassed Edu. Edu had to say something to him.
Yeah. And it's stuff like that. And at that point, you just think to yourself, yes, the guy's got potential, but has he got potential to be at Arsenal? No. I'm sorry, he hasn't, because he got into the notion when he was under Emery going, yeah, I am the star boy of this team. I am the future of this team. And when Arteta came, he went, you're not the future of my team.
No, and I really liked that from Arteta, by the way. He came in, he said, everyone is equal. You all fight for your position. And that's what happened with Ozil, Guendouzi. They didn't want to fight for it properly, then that's why they're not here no more.
Yeah, exactly that. And the fact of the matter is that he could have fought for his spot here. He could have apologised. He could have actually been here this season to really kick on, but he didn't. And that's his attitude. It hasn't gone his way. Spoiled child, toys out the pram. I don't know, this opinion will be very unpopular amongst people, because some people can see Guendouzi's got a high ceiling, but they're not factoring in the big picture. If you've got a high ceiling, great. You need the attitude and work rate to go with that. If you ain't got that, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And
well,
if you look
Ravel Morrison had a high ceiling. Look what happened to him.
Ben Afra, he went to some clubs. Could have been brilliant at the clubs.
Yeah. Balotelli.
Yeah. You know. So, really, how long do you persist with Matt Guendouzi, considering if he comes back in the summer, you're going to have to offer him a new contract, realistically, if you want him to stay next season. He's going to need a new contract because he'll be out of contract at the end of next season. So how long do you persist with him? He's been here, what, 2 years, 3 years?
4, isn't it? 4, be 4 years in the summer.
Yeah.
Would it? Yeah.
No, three or 4 years.
2018.
Yeah. So how long do you persist with that? Honestly, how long do you persist with that?
If I'm Arteta, I've lost patience already.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could talk about Guendouzi all day, me and you.
Yeah, I know.
Moving on to the summer planning, there was Chris Wheatley and I think it was James Bench both said that Arsenal started their summer planning already. They're well into it. I'm going to give you 5 positions, and I want you to give me 5 names that you would sign in the summer. And if anyone's watching, put your 5 names in the chat as well. I'll give my 5 names after Sam gives his. So
Are
I'm
we
going
doing?
to go.
Are we doing 5 names and costings, or just 5 names?
You can give me the price if you want to.
All right.
So I'm going to say right back.
Are we going one and one? So
It's up to you.
positions.
Do you want me to give you the 5 up front, or do you want to go?
No, do me
I'll
do me
tell you.
one. Do me 1 and 1 because I'll end up forgetting the positions.
Okay, right back.
Right back. I would look to Dumfries.
I said him. I like him a lot.
I'd also look at Max Aarons.
Reportedly worth 35 million. Bayern
Mhm.
Munich interested.
Who else would I consider? I said a right back the other day, but for life of me, it's gone out of my head.
You only get one name.
I know. If I had to choose, I'd probably go Dumfries.
Keeper option. I like it. Okay. Right centre back. I think I know this answer. Yeah. Konate, of course. Defensive midfielder.
I would like to see Basuma.
I like it. Number 10.
Odegaard.
You go straight Odegaard, yeah?
Yep.
And striker.
Oh,
There's a lot of names you could go for here.
I know, and this is difficult. I'm going to actually go with Tony from Brentford. Reason I say this is because I think that he's got a lot of room to grow, and you're seeing what he's doing in the Championship already. I think he's got most goal contributions across the 5-6 leagues.
27, isn't it?
Think so. And with him, I think that he's a bit of an all-rounder. He can do a bit of everything. He can mix it up. He's good in the air. He's good on the ball. He's good at hold-up play. He can get in the box. He can score. He's quick. He can do a bit of everything. And somebody said to me the other day, like, would you have him or Edouard from Celtic?
I think that was me.
Yeah. And I said I'd probably go with Tony because there's one thing that we really miss up front, which annoys me a little bit, is that bit of grit. You know, somebody to really bash the defenders around to then get on the ball, be quick, direct, and will really put them under pressure, like Ollie Watkins done to us when we played Villa a couple of times. But ultimately, if reports are true that we're looking to get rid of Lacazette and Nketiah, I would go for Tony and Edouard because Edouard can be Lacazette's replacement. Tony can then be Nketiah's. You're instantly upgrading on Nketiah and Lacazette, and then it puts the competition on Aubameyang instantly. And in that aspect, it's then creating a real competition for that one space. And with Aubameyang, we all know that he can play on the left as well. So you can potentially have two players competing for that one spot, or Aubameyang positioning on the left, or have 3 for the one. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Right. My 5 names for my 5 positions are right back. I'm going Hakimi from Inter Milan.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the way Arteta wants our right backs to play, to come inside, to be good on the ball, and to attack, he's perfect.
You know what you said there is key, to come inside. Hakimi loves that.
Yeah. Bellerin tries, and I'm not going to sit here and bash Bellerin at all, but I don't think he's very good with the ball at his feet. Don't hate me for saying that.
Struggles.
Yeah. My right-sided centre-back, I'm going Sven Bodnar from Lille.
Ooh. Mm.
I like him a lot. I think he's brilliant. Liverpool were interested, but they've moved attention to someone else, I believe. I'm going for defensive midfielder. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with Basuma. I think he's just fantastic. He just batters us every time we play him. And he literally, when we beat them 1-0, he held that game, that midfield himself. He was lucky to get that win
Perfect partner
for Partey, yeah. And my number 10, again, I'm agreeing with you, straight Odegaard. We need to sign that kid permanently. I've watched him for 2 games now, and I want to sign him straight up. I think he's brilliant. The way he drops deep, the way he caresses the ball, it just reminds me of a younger Mesut Ozil.
He's just so intelligent, like all
Yeah, the
round
football
positional play.
IQ is brilliant. And my striker, I'm going to agree with you again. I'm going with Ivan Toney. I think I would have gone Edward previously, but after listening to Tony speak and the way he talks about playing football, he's just grateful for playing and he would do anything for his team. And I just love that.
He's got the intelligence about him as well.
Mm.
And that's very important.
Yeah, I just like the players that say, I'm grateful to be in the position I'm in. I will do anything for my team. I'll put my body on the line to win for my team. And I feel like he's that type of striker that will run himself into the ground. He will press every single person. He will run for 90 minutes. And it'll be like an honour scoring a goal for us kind of thing. And I want that up front for us. Not saying Aubameyang doesn't do that, though. Obviously, I love Aubameyang. Just think he's a bit of an idiot at the moment. But
yeah. No, but you think about it as well, like Aubameyang can really have a big impact on Ivan Toney, because Aubameyang is an elite centre forward, regardless of whether people say that he is, he isn't, what he can and can't do. Listen, the man puts balls in the back of the net for fun. And if you pass that knowledge, that experience onto Ivan Toney and incorporate Tony's all-round play, that's quite scary. So quite a scary concept.
Just touching on Aubameyang, I saw the graph of Arsenal strikers or Arsenal players that have hit a certain amount of goals, and he's like 26th on the list now. But he's scoring at the rate that Henry scored at.
Yeah.
If we had signed Aubameyang in 2015, I'm pretty sure Henry's record would be in a lot of doubt.
Do you know
he's hit
what?
80 goals already in 3 seasons.
I reckon, because he's now got what? 3 seasons left? Yeah. I reckon that he might catch him right. Putting it out there, I think that he might.
That's 100 goals in the next 3 seasons. For I don't want to say declining, but an aging Aubameyang.
I think it's possible though.
If Arteta builds a team around him for when he loses his pace, and he's just that poacher in the box, you might be onto something there.
I think that he'll catch Bergkamp. I honestly think that he will.
I think he'll catch Van Persie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Van Persie's on 130, I think.
Something like that, but yeah. Van Persie's in the mud, mate.
Absolutely. Well, I can sit here talking to you all day, mate. You know that. We've been on here for 45 minutes and we've not even touched on the upcoming fixtures.
All right, let's get into them then, shall we?
I'm just going to ask you for your predictions on these 2 games.
All right. Benfica. I'll just do a quick summary as well. Benfica, I don't think they're an opponent that I'd worry much about. Obviously in the league they're doing quite well. I don't think they've got the tenacity of what an English team can offer and play against. Obviously they struggled against Celtic. So I think if we're full strength, I think that we win the first game 3-1. Moving on to City. City's always going to be a hard game. I want to say it'll be a 1-1 draw, but I can probably see us losing 2-1. maybe 3-1. It's just a matter of fact of where we are right now, and where City are. I think that we will make the game very difficult for them, and I think that we will sacrifice a few of our attacking instincts. I think that might be a bit of a mistake. I think that we can go toe to toe with City. It's just the fact that we've got to be smart of when we go toe to toe with them.
Yeah.
I think they're beatable, but I will probably hang my hat on a draw.
I'm going to agree with you on Benfica. I think we have too much for them. I know they've got a few exciting players like Darwin Núñez and Everton's. I'm not even going to try and butcher his second name.
It's Everton Suarez,
but,
Suarez?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. The one that we was looking at before.
Yeah. Oh, him.
They got Grimaldo at left back. They got Grimaldo at left back. They got Otamendi at centre back. I think if we turn up like we did on Saturday, we'll slap them 4-0 quite easily. But then again, I don't think you get the same Arsenal in 2 games in a row at the moment.
Yeah.
And then moving on to City, I'm a little less confident for that one. Obviously, De Bruyne's back in full training, so is Sergio Aguero. They always seem to turn up when they play Arsenal. So I'm going to say a 3-0 loss on that one.
Heavy.
So I do agree with you on that Arteta might sacrifice a couple attacking or our attacking playing to suppress what they're going to do to us. But I genuinely hope he doesn't. I hope he sticks to what we've played with already in the 4-2-3-1 with Odegaard, Smith Rowe and Saka behind Aubameyang. Or maybe even Martinelli. I'd probably put Martinelli in there for his pressing. But yeah, my head tells me 3-0 City, but my heart's telling me 2-0 Arsenal.
Ambitious.
So that pretty much sums up this longish episode of the Daily Gooner minus Ref, which unfortunately again he can't be here because of the random snowstorm that's hit South Texas in the last few days. So thank you for joining us this week on the Daily Gooner. I've been Ryan. That's been Sam. We'll catch you in the next one.